This is First Hour with Summit Times. The arrival of novel coronavirus into the resident population has triggered valid fear. Towns went into voluntary lockdown. In some areas, barricades were erected to keep outsiders out. WhatsApp scaremongering took off. Social media went into rapturous joy over the people's initiative. And while one can understand the worry, it is also worrying that no one noticed the potentially dangerous direction that such attitudes can take a society in. The short-sightedness of such moves were clearly overlooked in the mad scramble to keep areas safe. There were instances of communication breakdown, not rare in Sikkim, and administrative disconnectedness, which too the state has seen often of late. The state machinery, which no one expects to be perfect, disappointed once again. While community mobilization is always welcome, it is important that people make informed decisions and understand that mass panic needs to be calmed, not fanned further as some extreme measures can end up doing. The only agency which could have avoided this situation, the district administration, however, did not do enough. To combat COVID, Sikkim needs to work together and through its government, not in silos or through notifications alone. Sikkim's cumulative COVID load went past the 300 mark on Monday, with 35 new cases being detected. 25 of these cases were primary contacts of people who have tested positive after the funeral at Rangpo, the first case from where was detected on 18th July. With the addition of these 35 cases, Sikkim's COVID tally rose to 318, 92 of whom have recovered and 2 who have migrated, leaving the state with 226 active cases. While the official health bulletin reported 22 new cases for Monday, Health Secretary Dr. P.T. Bhutia confirmed to Summit Times that the count should have been 35. Apparently, 13 cases lodged at the Chujachen quarantine facility for asymptomatic cases were not included in the official data. There was much confusion in Sikkim today, with towns and villages going into voluntary lockdown and the state government eventually deciding to go for a statewide complete lockdown starting Tuesday and holding till 27th July. The latest lockdown returns us to lockdown phase 1 in its strictness. This time, even pharma companies, unless specifically exempted, will also be shut, along with all private and government offices and businesses. Only shops selling essential and food items are allowed to remain open. The duration they can remain open has also been reduced from 8 am to 5 pm. Medicine shops can remain open till 7. Also today, the state government decided that educational institutions will remain closed till 31st August. The annual floods and erosion by Brahmaputra had eaten away their landed properties over the years, and this time the people of Bhogerpar village in Assam's Barpeta district have been forced to take shelter on embankments, relief camps and nearby villages. This is a small island. The village measures about 1 square kilometer and has been facing the ruthless assault of the river every monsoon. So much so that every immovable property standing on it, homes, schools and places of worship for its originally 150 Hindu and Muslim families has been destroyed. Now, only 75 families are left. Originally farmers, most of them have become cattle farmers and some have even turned daily wage laborers. According to the Assam Water Resources Department, flood and erosion has scarred away more than 4.27 lakh hectares, roughly 7.4% of the state's total area since 1950. The annual average loss of land is nearly 8,000 hectares, and the width of Brahmaputra has increased by up to 15 kilometers in some places due to erosion. Meanwhile, in West Bengal, stating that community transmission of COVID-19 has been recorded in a few areas, the Mamata Banerjee government on Monday announced a complete lockdown across the state for 2 days every week to stem the spread of the disease. This week, the total lockdown will be in force on Thursday and Saturday. India registered a record single-day jump of 40,425 COVID-19 cases, pushing its tally past the 11 lakh mark on Monday. This is the fifth consecutive day that COVID cases have increased by more than 30,000 and the first time that the single-day spike has crossed the 40,000 mark. Our COVID tally crossed the 11 lakh mark just 3 days after we clocked 10 lakhs. The death toll due to the disease rose to 27,497 with 681 fatalities reported in one day. Meanwhile, the total number of recoveries crossed 7 lakh. One speaks of COVID positive numbers every day in this section. Today, we speak of COVID, but positive in the true sense. Scientists at Oxford University say their experimental coronavirus vaccine has shown in early trials to prompt a protective immune response in hundreds of people who received the shot. British researchers first began testing the vaccine in April on about 1,000 people, half of whom got the experimental vaccine. Such early trials are usually designed only to evaluate safety, but in this case, experts are also looking to see what kind of immune response was provoked. And the results have been good thus far. Let's keep our fingers crossed because no one really believes in the Ramdev cure or the 15th August deadline claimed by our Sarkari agencies. And now for some news from Herat in eastern Afghanistan. No, not about Taliban violence or tribal politics. An all-female Afghan robotics team which has won several international awards has put together a low-cost, lightweight ventilator. They started work in March on an open-source, low-cost ventilator as the coronavirus pandemic hit the war-torn nation. It took the team almost 4 months to finalize the ventilator, which is partly based on an MIT design and has received guidance from experts at Harvard University. The device is easy to carry, can run on battery power for 10 hours and costs less than Rs 50,000 to produce. Compare this with the Rs 14 lakh price tag of a traditional ventilator. Although the ventilator still has to undergo final testing from health authorities before it can be used, officials welcomed it in a country with only 800 ventilators to treat the fast-growing number of coronavirus cases. The health system in Afghanistan is damaged by decades of war, and the country has recorded around 35,500 COVID-19 cases and 1,181 deaths. Though experts warn the true count is probably far higher due to the low testing rates. Now for some more heartwarming bizarreness in these times of hyperventilation. When a dog from Kansas, that's in the USA, disappeared earlier this month, her owners did not expect to find her in a different state 80 kilometers away. But that's exactly where Cleo was found, at her old home. The 4-year-old Labrador Border Collie mix had somehow managed to travel over 80 kilometers back to the home where she once lived with her owners. The family had moved away 2 years back and the dog somehow managed to find her way back to her old home. She was found there by the house's new owner who had seen the missing post on Facebook. Neither family is sure how the dog made the journey, especially given that she would have to cross a river in the process. That will probably remain a mystery, but in the process has brought home a story of longing, perseverance, and happy reunions. As for our listeners, it's day 1 of a fresh round of lockdown. Let's not take any inspirations from this bizarre story. Stay indoors for now unless it is absolutely necessary to venture out. Stay safe, stay positive. Thank you for tuning in.